Welcome to the Verge Mobile Show for CES 2014. An amazing roller coaster of thoughts and emotions. Feelings, I am Dieter Bohn, and I'm joined by my friends.
I am Vlad Savov.
I'm Dan Seifert.
I'm Evan Rodgers.
And Chris Ziegler, he's out driving a car somewhere, because that's what he does. He drives a car everywhere he goes, all the time. He doesn't report on gadgets anymore, although I guess cars.
I heard he's trapped out in the desert.
Yeah. He's having a full-on Las Vegas car
I think he took one of those.
There he is, right there, out in the middle of the desert.
I think he took one of those electric BMWs.
Yeah, he's going to get shot.
Pushed it to the limit.
Get stung by a scorpion.
Do you think he brought a shovel?
It really is yeah.
I look forward to seeing him crawling across the desert sand.
Yeah, no, it's not.
No,
so it's the end of the week. We've had a full CES experience. It's Thursday. There's a plane flying overhead, which is not weird at all. It feels like it's in the room with us. And how you guys feeling? Evan, how you doing?
Feeling good.
Yeah, really?
Yes, feeling dry.
What?
Yeah.
You're feeling good?
Yeah. I mean, I have a cup of coffee, so.
Okay.
Good to go.
You're not feeling terrible or horrible or failed?
No. I may not have had sleep, but what I didn't have in sleep, I made it up for in excitement. Sweet spreadsheet excitement.
I feel like Evan is lying ever so slightly.
What? No.
Sweet spreadsheet excitement?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, you have no idea.
And your CES experience is way different than mine.
I think I've heard that tagline in a Microsoft ad somewhere.
Yeah.
It must have happened.
Yeah.
But no, there was something exciting. I mean, I know we're all kind of exhausted and our souls have been battered and we're going to need like a month's worth of recuperation from this Vegas experience. But there was one really exciting and fun thing about the mobile side of things, and that was the Xperia Z1 Compact, or Z1 Compact since we're in the States. And I think all of us have been excited, all of us have been anticipating it. Dan has an Xperia in front of him. Evan has one. He's a Sony fan, as am I.
Okay, I do want to ask one question about this though.
Yes.
Why are you jumping right into like the business? I want to know how you feel, man.
I'm afraid I have.
Tell us the feels. Tell us the feels.
Well, the way I feel right now is.
You just want to talk about the Z1 Ultra. That's it. That's all that matters.
No.
Everything else is gone for you. All your flowers in your life have wilted. There is only space in your heart for the Z1 Ultra.
There's always space in my heart for vegetables. You know. Flowers, vegetables, and eggs.
Eggs.
Eggs are very
You're a big
important.
fan?
Protein.
Right.
But no, I mean, the way that I feel is I've just had dinner, I'm exhausted, and if I don't talk about something truly exciting and interesting, I am going to fall asleep. And I mean, look, this is the only thing that's sustaining me. Unbranded water. That's the other thing I have.
Okay,
space in my heart for. But seriously, compact.
well, let's set the scene. So typically every year at the mobile show, or at the CES show, there's not a ton. Wow, there's not a ton of mobile news, but Sony usually does something.
Yes.
To like give us something to talk about and something to do. It's not always a flagship. Sometimes it is, but they try harder at CES on mobile than basically anybody else. And they already have got this, the Z1 as like their flagship. Then they had the Z1 Ultra, the ridiculous tablet thing, and now we have the Z1 Mini.
Compact.
No,
Compact.
exactly. It's not mini.
Not Mini.
That's it.
Mini denotes crap. Mini denotes we're pretending it's the same thing, but really we're nerfing the processor and putting a really crappy camera in it. That's what Mini means, right?
Z1 Mini.
Galaxy S4 Mini, S3 Mini, both. Yeah.
Well, that's what it means if you're talking about Samsung products.
It carries a lot of baggage.
Same with the HTC though. HTC One Mini's nerfed.
That thing is a piece. I was so excited for the One Mini, but that thing is a total piece.
And just cut right to it.
Every single one,
man.
I shouldn't say every single one, but many of them have a problem where the plastic that around the outside just cracks along the buttons because they didn't make it.
All right, enough about the One Mini. So the Z1 Compact, this is different because it's taking everything that we loved about the Z1, the great camera, the really fast processor, and putting it in a smaller size.
You guys notice my microphone's on the other side now? If you've had audio issues, I apologize, but they should be all resolved now, and I will sound like the beautiful cold-ridden monster that I am. Continue.
So yeah, they're putting it in a smaller body that's easier to handle, which is like what a lot of people, at least in our circle, have been asking for a long time.
So, okay.
Everybody.
Who's played with one? I haven't touched one yet.
I touched one briefly.
Right.
Okay, so same build quality?
Yep.
I want to say it's not the same build.
Okay,
quality.
what's the
not
story?
quite. It's incredibly close, but the Z1 feels a little bit more solid. And it's like the Z1 Compact just feels a little bit like maybe it's because it's lighter. Like obviously it doesn't have a bigger battery in it. There's less glass, like just surface area of glass. But it does feel slightly lower, but it still feels great. So I don't know.
Still waterproof,
still glass.
fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. They had some cool cutouts of like the aluminum extrusions that they make them out of.
So here's the question: Are you guys gonna put your money where your mouth is? You've been talking about wanting a great 4.2 phone
If
for
they will
years.
sell me one, if I could buy it with my money, I would throw down right now.
Yeah, here's the problem. They announced it here at CES, which is, it's called the International CES, but it's mostly a US-centric show. But they're not even going to sell it in the US. Not at this point at time. Vlad can buy one.
At some point they will, right? I mean,
Hopefully. God, if I don't even care if a carrier picks it up and they only offer it in pink. I just want them to bring it to the US.
Yeah. I mean, look, the thing is, with the Z1 Compact, what Dan said, it's the definition of easy to say but hard to execute, hard to perform. You take your flagship device, it's a 5-inch device, and you just shrink it to a 4.3-inch form factor. And we're all kind of shrugging and saying, well, okay, interesting, fine. But no, I mean, technically, to get that, to make that happen, is quite an incredible achievement. I mean, this is still the same 20-megapixel sensor, same camera as on the Z1. It doesn't I mean, the only sacrifice that you make is that you don't have the 3,000 milliamp hour battery because there's just nowhere to fit it in that form factor.
And the screen goes down to 720p.
Yeah,
exactly.
and the screen resolution comes down, but again, that's irrelevant because there's no way for you to physically sense the difference between 1080 and 720p at a 4.3-inch size. But actually, the screen goes up in quality because it's an IPS display, and this is the biggest upgrade as far as I'm concerned. This makes the Z1 Compact Sony's absolute flagship. Sony isn't going to openly say it, but this is its flagship because the IPS display, it improves the viewing angles, finally, after years and years of me complaining. Obviously, it takes a while for the message to get through from me to Sony.
well, no, this is one of the stories of CES. Sony is no longer a crushing disappointment. Every time they release a phone, you're like, oh man, Sony, you're gonna do it right this time, and they don't. And like with the Z1, and especially the Z1 Mini, it's like, or Mini, the Z1 Compact, it's like, they got it. It seems like, right?
I feel so. I absolutely feel so. And to Dan's point, it's disappointing that Sony isn't bringing it to the US, or isn't immediately bringing it to the US. I know that I believe it's end of February or something like that it's starting to ship.
I just asked them, and they said there was some kind of intermediary time in February. They have no official.
Yeah, it's a few weeks, and I mean, it's not perfect. It's still not perfect because it's not shipping with KitKat, which it really should be.
That's an embarrassment.
And they're saying the coming weeks after it ships, they're going to do the KitKat update. And to me, it's a case of what's going to happen at Mobile World Congress is at least Samsung is going to bring KitKat with its new devices, right? And others are going to push KitKat. Even if
Samsung announced devices here with KitKat. The tablet line that they announced here, the Galaxy Tab Pro.
Okay, we got to
Note
talk
Pros.
about these. We got to talk about the Tab Pro and the Note Pro.
Yeah.
Tab Pro is like, stop. Why do you exist?
So
what? Tell me why.
So Samsung announced 4 new tablets here. They announced 3 Tab Pros in 8.4-inch, 10.1-inch, and massive 12.2-inch. And then they announced the Galaxy Note Pro, which only comes in 12.2-inch.
Right.
And of course, the difference between the 12.2-inch Tab and the 12.2-inch Note is the support for the S Pen. But when I think about when I always thought of like Samsung's lines, the Note line of tablets always seemed like their Pro line already. Like compared to the other tabs that were cheaper, didn't have as many features, they generally didn't have as fast processors and stuff like that. The Note Pro, the Note tablets gave you more to do, and they worked better and things like that. But
say what you feel, man. The Tab Pros are like they're just like they're iterative,
giant.
they're whatever.
Yeah.
There's no reason.
And they're
Note
really
Pro
too
is
big.
interesting because you get a huge tablet and you got multi-window thing. If you're into that, I don't think you should be. Well, maybe it's okay. The keyboard is ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, so they got this keyboard. It's an on-screen keyboard that has like shading and bevels on the display of the keys to make it look like a real keyboard.
Like from not they don't make it look like a real keyboard. They make it look like a real keyboard from 1987.
Yeah.
Which is, come on.
And then it has like control buttons, so you can do like Control C,
That's
Control V,
but-
which is kind of neat. And I could get where like you're doing all those awesome spreadsheets for days.
No, but this is Samsung's
talking about.
move.
Now you got my attention.
Every year at a show, they roll up to CES and they're like, yeah, we got some stuff, we made them. What the heck? We'll put them out there. They do it at MWC and they do it at CES. And
Yeah.
this is they're like, yeah, we made it. We might as well see.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like okay.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is like, Samsung's probably going to sell a ton of them. They're going to put them in every single
No, they're
Best
not.
Buy.
They're
gonna,
not.
but they're going to be on like the big Best Buy displays. They're going to be 12.2-inch tablets. It's going to be massive. People are going to buy it and then they're going to bring it home. And they're going to realize this thing's really awkward to use. It kind of sucks.
Now, Samsung phones have an air of inevitability about them because of their marketing. But like, I don't think that magic, that whatever marketing prowess they've got, has bled over into tablets.
Okay. Here's the thing. Our producer, Jordan Opplinger or Opplinger?
It's Opplinger.
Opplinger, okay. Jordan Opplinger, our producer / director, he told us
Slash friend.
Oh, absolutely / friend.
At least I like to think so, but maybe he disagrees. I don't know. We'll see.
He's an overall good guy.
Yeah, he is. That is undeniable.
He did ask us to make definitive statements about CES, and I noticed Dieter dropping one of those earlier on. Well, here's
Just like
mine.
got mine in.
All right. Mine is that if there is a theme to CES this year, it's that it's full of things that people don't actually want. Okay, because these Samsung tablets are a great example of that, and we've been discussing this in the Verge trailer today. All of these wearables that we'll be seeing are a total example, because everywhere I go, there are these kind of Android-y smartwatches / fitness trackers / pedometers.
But how is that different
things
from any
don't
other
really
year?
work.
There's always crap I don't want at CES.
I don't know. I feel like they've all done some research. They've all done some focus grouping, and they've all picked up on a trend. Okay, because that's how Samsung does its devices. It does a focus group, and a bunch of people in Korea tell it, "I want a 12-inch tablet," and it just kicks one out. And
So are you saying there's just nothing about a 12-inch tablet that could be redeeming or useful? Like, for example, like someone who's a student, like could you not feasibly use it to read textbooks? Like,
Here's the thing. I think Samsung really kind of half-assed this whole thing. A 12.2-inch tablet could really, be useful for somebody, somebody who wants to compare two spreadsheets side by side. They got lots of screen to do it and stuff like that. But Samsung's not even offering a keyboard dock with it. They're relying on Logitech and third-party manufacturers to fill that in. But like, it would make so much sense for this thing to just dock into a keyboard, like the countless keyboard docks that come that are made for the iPhone or iPad, and then you close it up and you've got a laptop replacement that runs Android.
Yeah.
But I mean, I know Logitech announced one that they're making one. We'll see how good it is or whatever. But
Yeah, the reason that actually, the other thing we need to talk about these. I was good. Yeah, the reason these don't work is because you need this tablet to like be a real your computer replacement. But this UI, this Metro. I mean,
Metro S.
the tile thing.
yeah, they're calling
Come
it
on.
Magazine UX. It's a total ripoff of Windows 8.1's Metro tiles and stuff. You got your widgets become squares, and then you can have news squares and weather squares. And
It's hard to navigate.
I mean, I think it's easier for new users who aren't used to like an Android home screen or whatever. But I mean,
Is it?
in this market? I don't know how many of those exist.
yeah, are there new users that have never used
That would
mainline?
buy something called a Pro. The thing is, they call this a Pro. It's going to be aimed at, the early adopter, the person who wants the Pro product.
No,
and
dude,
it's
look at the
running
keyboard.
very basic UI.
It's aimed at dudes in suits. Walk into Best Buy and say, "Give me a tablet that I can do work on."
Here is
Straight
the
Be right back. Taking a call on my.
And it's the thing that Evan asked of me. Are you saying that there's no redeeming feature to a 12-inch tablet? And the thing is, of course it can be, right? But in order for that redeeming feature to exist, these guys need to be doing software well. And everything that Dan has said so far, about Samsung's efforts with the software on these tablets says they're not doing the software well. And this is consistent. It's always the case that you see nice hardware and then
So-
the software comes around and spoils the
So
product.
apparently Samsung is talking about walking that back now.
Walking what back?
Walking back their UI and being less crazy with their UI. Like on the next version of the Galaxy S.
Yeah, but when a drunk person changes direction, they're still going astray.
You bring a great point. I mean, what was the software like?
It's terrible.
I mean, so it's got that
the Windows thing
flipboard
works super
Windows
well.
tile thing,
Yeah,
and then
so you
underneath it, it's
drag out apps and
touchpads.
you can like resize these windows with a little cross thing, and like everything is very performant. But then as soon as you like find a way to get out of there, and God help you figuring out how to do that, like you hit the back button, you hit the home button, like getting back to it is weird, saving it is weird. Like it works super well until you actually try and like have a sense of place and how it like where it works in the OS.
So
In
I
which
mean,
case it totally falls
if you're
apart.
using this in kind of like a business professional aspect, like can it actually fulfill that? Like, would a 12-inch laptop like fulfill the same duty better? Like,
Yes.
would a Windows 8 tablet be better for
maybe
a student or
be.
a business
Look,
person?
maybe.
I really
Hard to
just
say.
I really just don't see the point
What is
of
it?
any tablet beyond
Can you multitask?
9 or
Sorry.
10
Yes.
inches. Any tablet beyond 9 or 10 inches.
Can you multitask well?
Look, we're approaching the point where every screen is going to be a touchscreen. Even your TV, you don't have a choice. It's all going to be touchscreen.
Touchscreen is
You have
fine.
no-
I am
you have
down
no
for
hope.
that.
Touchscreen is fine, but
I wanna touch
once
all
you,
over a
once you
40-inch
go
TV.
above 11 or 12 inches, you might as well just attach the keyboard to it.
Right.
Nah.
When its primary use is a laptop, and then you can maybe pop it out and do
No.
some quick tablet things, and it has a touchscreen.
No,
That's fine.
no,
But
no,
like
no,
when this thing's
touchable.
primarily used as a tablet, and it weighs 1.5 pounds, and it's like a mile long because it's 16 by 9, and you're trying to hold it in one hand and interact with it, and your hand just
Yeah.
kind of like falls and cramps. I mean,
I'm just going to bring this up very briefly. Transformer Book Duet, the one that Asus introduced, and they're calling it a 4-in-1. And you know what? It's just a 1-in-1. It's just one compromise. Okay? Because it's supposed to be an Android tablet, a Windows laptop, an Android laptop. And you know what? The OS switching takes just 3 or 4 seconds. It works. That part of the software works. But it's a 13-inch tablet when it's a tablet. And other than Shaq, who's here at CES, and I got to within arm's reach, but no, well, his arm's reach, not my arm's reach. Other than Shaq, nobody really can use a 13-inch tablet as a tablet.
Dude, I could. Yeah, if every laptop had a
high.
detachable screen, a detachable touch screen, would you not use the shit out of that? To like, I'm gonna work, oh no, you know what, I'm gonna go watch a movie in bed. Oh, you know what, I'm gonna lean back. Like, yeah, the fact that you can't carry it around, granted, that's
Actually,
fine. But if every
get-
laptop had a detachable touchscreen that you could do stuff on and like watch a movie on and hang out on your couch with,
If you could
how
get
is that
multiple
not
keyboards,
a great idea?
Like if you could get a keyboard for upstairs, downstairs, and like at your desk, and you could just dock it into it and just leave the keyboards everywhere, that would be
the
sick.
problem is all those tablets, laptops run Windows 8. So.
Yeah.
So I mean, we didn't actually see very many of those. CES this
we
year.
There
we
was very
had the
little
report up
Windows
today.
stuff,
that
yeah.
That's what I was going to
around.
say. I mean, my perception of it remains, and it's exactly the opposite to what Intel was pushing with the 2-in-1 concept. My perception of it remains that if you want a laptop, you go and get yourself a laptop because you avoid the compromise, you avoid the mechanical things. Because with that Transformer Book Duet, it's chunky. It's chunkier than most 13-inch Ultrabooks.
Yeah.
Whereas what I would say is, my ideal device would be like a 12-inch laptop, like one of those ThinkPad X240, things like that, where you can just fold it all the way back, so the keyboard, goes
Yeah.
all the way around. I mean, I'm really talking about the Lenovo Yoga. It exists, but just a little bit thinner, a little bit more refined. All of those extra little engineering bits that go into the improvement side of things. And then if you want a tablet, you go and get a tablet. Anytime you try and get too many things into one and the same device, you end up getting nothing that is really to your satisfaction.
I mean, really, that's pretty much. I think that's pretty much true too. I mean, 12-inch or 13-inch laptop and a 7-inch tablet. That's really like a good sweet spot.
And then an Xperia Z1 Compact, which I am telling you is an amazing, amazing phone. Like, I really like it. And if a Google Play edition of that phone, and I would buy like 5.
I mean, you got to get
I'll
every
buy
color.
one. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There's 4 colors.
I'm actually not. I may actually get the yellow one and the black one.
Yellow
Just
one is
'cause-
tight.
The yellow one is awesome.
Yellow
I mean, I
one's
like,
prettier.
I love the way the black and gray one looks, but the yellow one looks amazing.
All right, let's talk smartwatches because we've seen a lot of smartwatches this year at CES. We saw
Okay, that didn't work.
we saw some last year, but this year they're everywhere.
Pebble's
right?
out.
Yeah, they're everywhere and they're all terrible.
I wouldn't say they're all terrible. I would say most of them are terrible. And
okay, that's true.
I would say that are significant improvements to
Yeah.
earlier versions. We saw Pebble announced its Pebble Steel, which is a dramatic improvement on the hardware.
Yeah.
I know that not everyone loves it, and some people have been critical of it. Sure, whatever, but nobody can really deny that it's better than the first iteration of the.
I bought it.
Dieter bought one
excited.
already.
Does anyone here really not like the design?
I like it.
I would say
I don't.
that-
It's not like it's not stunningly. Oh my god, I'm so happy with the design.
No.
But like after seeing the steel, seeing the orange Pebble that I'm wearing on my wrist right now, like this is embarrassing. You know what? My girlfriend kind of told me she loves me less when I wear it, and I kind of don't blame her for it because look at this thing, right? It's
My take on
mean,
it
it
is
doesn't
if it
look-
was not a Pebble, if it was a regular analog watch, I would not really be into the design because it's kind of a generic watch design.
Yeah.
But you know, it is a Pebble and it does this fun stuff that I like what my Pebble does, but it looks nicer. It looks nicer with a suit. It looks nicer when you're going out to dinner. So
You can wear it with a suit.
you can wear it with a suit. So, you know, I think it's a marked improvement. And not only is the design much better, but the build quality is leaps and bounds above the plastic Pebble.
That's me handling it in the video, by the way. My big claim to fame for the Verge is that anytime there's a new smartwatch coming out, I put about 5 of them on my wrist at the same time.
You've got great wrists, Vlad.
so
Let's be
okay.
honest.
We've got the Pebble here. It's great. It's the same thing as last year. It's way
Same
faster
hardware,
with this
yeah.
new OS though.
Yeah.
Which
it
the
seems
old
nicer.
one will get. So if you have the first edition of the Pebble, you're going to get the upgraded to the new software. Should get all the benefits there.
There's a slew of just garbage, right?
Slew of garbage.
Like just take an Android phone and cram it on your wrist.
Yes,
There's like 15 different ways.
and that exists. Someone did that. There's a
Before we finish with the Pebble, I just wanted to bring up a couple of points about the hardware. Firstly, and Dan was asking me about this because I was first to see the Pebble. The buttons on the side are much improved from the original Pebble. In terms of hardware, though, the guys from Pebble said that they're trying to keep the hardware platform consistent. So everything inside the new Pebble is the same as the old Pebble.
Except for RAM.
No, the RAM is actually the same. It's storage.
Storage, except for storage.
It had 4 megs of storage. It's now 8 megs of storage.
Oh, yes.
it makes who's going to
Okay.
see more than that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And there is a final point, and this is actually kind of a downside. Well, it also has a different magnetic charging connector, which isn't compatible between the 2 generations, which kind of sucks. But the first one was done to match the contours of the Pebble, so they couldn't really keep it the same. The downside for me is actually that I'm not in love with either the leather or the steel strap for the new Pebble.
And the connector is custom now, right? So
Well, actually,
No, not so much custom. It's still standard, but it's a much
I don't know why I'm
rarer standard. It's
doing
not,
my
it's not
little-
as
so
universal.
it's got the connector has teeth. So it's like if you look at the standard Pebble is a straight bar across. The new one has like teeth. Which Pebble says is actually still a standard size, but it's a little bit harder to find watches for. Straps for. So if you want to swap the strap, you'll probably have to go to a specialty watch shop to find it. But it can be done.
Yeah.
And they sold how many of these Pebbles?
300,000.
They sold of the ugly
Of the
horrible
ugly
ones.
ones, 300,000.
The new
What's
one is
the price?
$100 more.
Listen,
It's $250.
Listen, I'm sorry, we can't call them the ugly ones. My mother wants one of these. Okay.
They're not
And
ugly.
she
Like
has
the white
taste.
one's pretty fetching. It's not bad. I got the wide watch band, and it's all right.
I saw someone with a gray one today.
Yeah.
I'm into that.
I haven't seen that in person.
It wasn't ugly till I saw the new one, and then I was like, oh.
Yeah, the new one does
That's
look
the
really
point.
good.
That's the point. And that is the really big distinction here, that they went for style and they actually delivered.
Except for the fact that they have the giant word Pebble on
Yeah,
the face
that's
of the
pretty
watch.
rough.
Yeah,
It's
no one's a
embarrassing.
fan of that. No one's a fan of the branding,
no.
but what can you do?
I didn't think it was too noticeable in the dark gray metal one.
Which one did you buy, Dieter?
The dark gray metal.
Yeah, I think the dark gray is
That
the
way,
way
that
to
way,
go.
in dim lighting, the whole thing will just be a flat sheet of unreadable plastic, instead of like silver surrounding unreadable plastic.
It's actually Gorilla Glass.
Yeah, I was.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's I've gone all the way to find out the detail. It's Gorilla Glass 2, and they're going to be moving to Gorilla Glass 3 as production grows on.
Okay.
And the old Pebble is still going to stick around. Now it's the entry-level sporting one.
And don't get me wrong, there's not another smartwatch that I would recommend to anybody right now.
Absolutely.
None of the raft of like, you know, low rent stuff that we've seen here. And I'm also still not a huge fan of the Meta Watch. I know that a lot of people do like the new look, but I think it's like it's a little bit too. It's just trying a little bit too hard. And I'm also like they've got that 4-tile interface, which is good in theory, but like in practice, at the end of the day, like at one point, I just want a nice, big, cool looking.
So a couple things there. For regards to the 4-tile interface, that's their current interface, which they are loading on. They're showing their new design with the current interface, but they say by the time the new design actually hits stores, they will have a revamped interface.
Okay.
So that's going to change. But I think what you're saying about the Meta Watch, and it's like, hey, it's not my style. That's speaking to the core issue of smartwatches in general, is that if you look at the traditional watch market, there are hundreds of companies and thousands of different designs.
Right.
Because not the watch that I like might not be the watch that Evan likes, not the watch that Dieter likes, or the watch that Vlad likes. But when you have these smartwatches that are essentially like a homogeneous design, that doesn't necessarily work for everybody. So
okay, I'm with you. Like there should be lots of different kinds of smartwatches. Right. They should look all kinds of crazy different ways, and you should be allowed to wear them, you know, wherever you want and whatever outfit you've got.
I don't think we're in a smartwatch prohibition, but
well, it's possible. I would like to institute one, but we'll see. But the problem with that is like, if you're going to have that wide a variety of smartwatches, all of those different companies are not capable of making the software not suck.
Right.
And are not capable of pulling off the technology. So we need, I mean, you know, it's me, so of course I want everybody to sing Kumbaya and form a standard together, right? So like,
when you think about analog watches, the standard is the hands. You know, that's a standard way to tell time that every single analog watch sold everywhere uses. And there's some, you know, unique, you know, Tokyo Concepts or whatever that brand is that makes those really weird watches that are really hard to tell the time on. But for the most part, you look at a watch from one company, you can read the watch from the other company. It'd be great if smartwatches had the same concept. They just varied their design.
But what I'm saying is like okay. Somebody Google. Where am I looking? Right there. Google. Just buy Pebble, open source software.
No.
Yes, and then everybody can use Pebble software.
Because then there's the Google Plus on there, and it would be disgusting. No.
Okay, not Google. Apple.
Which camera am I looking at? Don't do it, Google, please.
Somebody just
no, thank you, Google. But it's okay.
We need the software to be handled by somebody who knows what they're doing.
Right.
But yes, absolutely. And you know, this is the thing. I now have the confidence that Pebble are that kind of company.
Yeah, but there's no way that Pebble can make the wide variety of watches that I want to buy.
No, of course.
Maybe right now. I mean.
Oh yeah, they're going to be a mass
well, what if Pebble,
empire?
Dieter, what if Pebble licensed its software to other makers?
Sure.
So I think in the conversation of smartwatches, like the first instinct is to compare them to the litany of regular analog and digital watches that are out there. Like you're saying, there's a huge variety out there. But for me, for example, like I don't wear a watch. I haven't worn a watch since I was in high school, and even that one was stupid. But that's
when you were a child,
it.
you did childish things. Now that you're a man, you've given up.
Put a watch on.
Yeah, no, that's
put a watch on, boy.
You know, a lot of people I know don't wear watches at all. They never have. They're not interested in watches. And I think really
you do wear a wristband party rave.
You do have wrist
ticket.
accessories.
I went to a concert or a club.
Hey, this is a CES exhibitor patch. But I mean, I think
he's been exhibiting his pecs.
Yeah. I mean, that's.
I mean, there's always going to be that segment that doesn't wear watches, and
no. I think that's
the same thing that's always
their
happened
game, though. Like, it's going to be very hard for them to convince somebody who's been wearing a watch forever to move from a very high quality analog or digital watch to a smartwatch. But for people that have never worn watches, I think that sell is a lot easier.
Yeah.
Maybe.
No, I'd take the point.
It's an interesting.
And you know what? And you know what else? That is very much the case. I recall when I first started writing about technology, I was still using a feature phone. I had a Sony Ericsson W810i, I think, which I really loved.
Oh man, it pains me to hear you denigrate that as a feature phone. It's an amazing phone.
It's a brilliant phone, and it also lasted a good 5 or 6 days. Particularly if you're not terribly popular and you don't have to handle a bunch of calls, it just lasts, you know. It was the Nokia age, right? So shed a tear for Nokia, now dead. buried
Not quite.
by Microsoft. Anyway, but
I really hope they squeeze
The
that Android
situation-
code
I
out,
got-
just
I
right
have
under
to
the
have it.
wire.
the situation then was, for me, no, you had a struggle to convince me to switch to a smartphone because smartphones just died. You know, it was like 1-2 days gone, right?
And I didn't have any struggle switching.
Yeah,
No, but that's the point. That's
I accepted the most painful experiences
That's
just
to
to have the
Evan's
internet.
point because he's saying what he's saying is absolutely true.
It was a trio.
Which one?
650.
God, so young.
I know.
Right. Well, I'm a much more of a late adopter than you guys, and it's to Evan's point. The usual watch wearer today is used to a battery life that is measured in years, if measured at all, right? Because you have automatic watches as well. They just don't worry about battery life. And that was me with my feature phone. I was like, I'm not going to worry about battery life for half a week.
So that's why the most exciting concept thing I saw at CES was Intel's charging bowl. It's a bowl.
I did not see this.
Yeah, they had it at their keynote. It was, you had the wireless charging pads or whatever. This was just a bowl, so you could just throw junk in it, and it would charge everything in the bowl. And so,
That is amazing.
for a phone, you don't want it in a bowl, whatever. But like, if we're gonna live in a wearable age, to have them all wirelessly charged and just like get home and like throw your watch in there, throw your earrings in there, throw your whatever you've got in there.
That's a pretty dope idea. I'm with that idea.
Like, because I throw my keys in a bowl every day when I
Yeah.
get home.
But Dieter is really working hard to be in that supercar. So this
Come on, I was not. Also, like,
Is that bowl a real thing?
yes. Well, I mean, they showed it off.
Okay.
Who knows?
You never know with CES.
That's you
If
know.
it's going to be a
Well, you
real
know-
thing.
Intel especially.
that is a valid point
No, that's not fair.
because
That's not fair.
we had Frank Nuovo in the studio and we spoke with him today, and he was talking about that whole making technology relatable to people and not making it hard, softening it a little bit with design. And I think that's exactly it. Like if you just gave people a flat wireless charger, that's technology to them, right? But if you give them a bowl, it's natural. It's like I'm throwing my keys in there, I arrive, I'm just putting my things into that thing, and it just so happens to be revitalizing and refreshing my technology. It just feels so much more natural. It's like your mind just understands
It's
it
like a
better.
spa for my gadgets.
No, but seriously, the way that people think is through stories.
Yeah.
I hope
right?
that's what they call
It's
it.
narrative.
The gadget spot.
The gadget spa?
I would
like
love
it.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just trolling you back for trolling me. We got to talk about these the insane things that have happened to service plans.
Yeah, these carriers just
man.
pretty much went nuts. Everyone except for Verizon. So AT&T kicked it off, and they announced that they are doing the sponsored data thing, where they will partner with
Oh, man.
with companies.
They destroyed internet neutrality.
They took net neutrality. They took it out back, shot it in the back of the head.
Yeah, and then
threw it in a dumpster.
they lit some puppies on fire.
It's just bad.
Net neutrality puppy.
It is
Net
bad
neutrality
news.
puppies.
awesome.
If you
So-
don't
so-
understand how the internet works, it's not a series of tubes, it's puppies.
Yeah.
And
They run the
there's
information
free
feed.
range happy puppies, and there's caged sad puppies.
Yeah,
that
there's
have been
AT&T
lit on fire. And
puppy mill
AT&T
puppies.
took the happy puppies and put them in a cage and lit them on fire.
Yeah.
That is what sponsored data is.
So-
also, it makes your wireless plan cheaper because other companies can pay for your data instead of paying for it yourself.
Right. So the concept is if a company wants to say promote a particular trailer for their movie, they can like deliver it to your phone, and the data that's used by that trailer does not come out of your data cap.
Right. Or if AT&T wants to pay for your data on Maps, then that one is free to use, and Google Maps sucks. It sucks because you have to pay for the data for that.
Right.
So, I mean, we've railed about this on the website, so I don't really see that we need to get too far into this,
Sure.
other than to say that like it's one of these things that sounds great, but is a creeping thing that hurts the internet.
I don't know to who it sounds great. I
think it sounds great too. Like,
Yeah, it
the
sounds
idea
great
is
to
like
me,
if I could get Spotify and I know that Spotify is paying for my data and it's never going to count against my data cap, that's awesome. That means that I could maybe eventually pay for a smaller data amount from AT&T.
Yeah, and like HD movies are pretty much impossible.
Yeah, if
on like a 2 gig data plan,
I never
like, you
stream
can't do
movies
it.
over LTE, but if Netflix were paying the charges, I would do that all the time. That's awesome.
right, but
Until the internet is ruined because of burnt puppies.
Well, I mean, like,
exactly.
it puts the ball in AT&T's court to really pick winners and losers.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
a huge problem. Like, it stifles. I mean, like, I know it's been talked about in the Verge cast like to death, but
Yeah.
it's just gross.
So
Okay, that's fine.
after AT&T lost its mind or just continued to do what it normally does,
This is like an escalating level of crazy.
Sprint.
The evil level falls while the crazy level rises. And so
So-
we started at evil and kind of crazy with AT&T.
Yeah.
Now we're in the middle of Sprint, and let's hear what.
So Sprint is actually this announcement happened and it kind of just got blown over by CES. I don't think many people realized what happened. Sprint announced these new plans called
what?
Framly plans, and
I honestly thought that was a typo in our article.
everyone thought it was a typo. We actually got a scoop on this, and the tipster tells us in the email, please read this. It's not a typo. And the name of the plan is it's Family and Friends together. So there's your Framly.
Family and friends.
That just sounds incestuous.
The concept of it is okay. So the concept of it is you have a Sprint account and you have your data and your voice and your text. As you add more lines to it, your bill goes down. So every person that you add, up to 7 people, your bill goes down by $5 per
So
month.
it's a pyramid scheme.
So it's a pyramid
Amway.
scheme.
It's wireless. It's wireless service.
But
Amway.
the only thing that I will say that's different than it's a period scheme is that everybody in it gets the same benefit.
Okay.
Because with the pyramid scheme, the person that starts it gets the most benefit, and it falls
so
down
it's
the
like
ladder.
a suicide cult.
So
everybody gets together and everybody benefits.
It's a
but-
suicide school because everyone has to use Sprint.
Also, it's called Framly.
It's called Framly.
Could you imagine like having to call the rep and say, "Could I please have the Framly?"
I'd like to be
plan?"
part of your-
underneath
I would
this.
Can I be
too
part of your
embarrassed
family?
to ask- Oh my
I
god!
really want to be part of your family.
But what this
Hey, man,
really
you wanna
is,
say $5? You want to be part of my Framly?
Yeah, get in on my family.
Hey girl, want to join my Framly?
So these are new contracts.
so these are so that's the
No,
important
I'm
point,
good. I'm
is,
good.
and that's
Want
not.
to join my Framly?
I'm roaming internationally. I don't need to.
So Evan brings up an important point. This is actually Sprint's play following AT&T and T-Mobile to decouple the contract from the subsidy, because
Right.
these plans are not contracts. You have to buy your own phone and bring it. You can do Sprint's a zero down payment plan. I can't remember what they call it, but once that's paid off, you're not paying any more for your
Framly.
plans for your Framly
Framly
plan. But it is just insanity that they're calling it the Framly plan.
It's really interesting that
actually,
they're
what's
doing
this-
that. Like, because I mean, Sprint kind of always their advertising is promoting a message of like the low cost alternative. Like they're always offering the value, like the value.
But that's all
prop.
they've got.
It is
That's
all.
they've
Of course,
got.
it's all they've got. But kind of shifting to this model where you do have to buy your own phone. I mean, I know that there are financing options available, but it is kind of a divergence, because like if you want a high-end smartphone on Sprint, if you're not on a contract, I'm not sure why, but you know.
Well, I mean, anyone with a brain would buy the Nexus 5.
Yeah.
Because it is available on Sprint.
Well, you
It's
can get an
$350. An iPhone is going to be what Evan's saying, $650, $750. So
Look, if it takes you
unlimited.
more than a half an hour, and that, I mean, like half an hour is super generous. If it takes you more than a half an hour to decide if a plan is a good value for you, or to like figure out what plan you want on a certain carrier,
You're probably being
Thank
had.
you.
things are broken.
Thank
Yes.
you.
And things are broken so far everywhere,
This
left
is-
and right.
this
Every
is
single,
exactly the
every
thought I had.
single gimmick that every single one of these carriers has been introducing over the past 6 months in a reaction to T-Mobile, and we're gonna get to that
we're
craziness
gonna
in a
get to
minute,
T-Mobile.
is driving me nuts. And I give T-Mobile credit for like forcing some simplification or on their stuff and forcing everybody else to start reacting, but they're reacting like crazy people.
Yeah.
And T-Mobile's stuff isn't exactly like the simplest thing out there, but it's moving in the right direction. And man, the fact that I had to sit here live on the internet and say the word Framly and it actually meant something, I hate the world.
Right. But you know, my thought exactly was I came across an AT&T ad on television, which I have to say, American television is just completely insufferable. I don't know how you guys live. But
You just don't get it.
Who watches TV here? What are you talking about?
I'm sorry.
We have great TV here.
In your opinion, we can just agree to disagree. And
I'm
talk-
sure that
and
there are
we can talk
lots and
about the
lots
ad.
of series as good as Breaking Bad coming out of.
Bulgaria.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to go straight for Bulgaria. I was going to go for London, but then you've got Sherlock, and so that would have been stupid. It's true.
Yeah. And I'm missing that actually.
I haven't watched anything new.
Anyhow, I'm sure there'll be spoilers in the comments.
Yeah, thanks a
People
lot,
love us
guys.
that much. But the ad that I saw was from AT&T, and they were pimping out their version, AT&T Next, right?
Yeah.
Their version of
Yeah.
the whole decoupling thing.
Oh, God.
And then like, it's not complicated. You pay $0 down, you get the phone for free. It's not complicated. And I was like, that's exactly what it is. You know, when you get down to it, when you get down to like figuring out when I'm not paying the upfront thing, how am I going to pay for it afterwards, subsequently? And that's when it just becomes, you know, a complete quagmire. And you know what? Yes, these guys are crazy, but they're kind of that Homer Simpson crazy like a fox thing.
They're shrewd business. That's what it is. It's shrewd
where
business.
they intentionally obfuscate.
So,
good details.
T-Mobile.
By the way, this is the best subheadline on an article we've ever published on The Verge. When we published the thing about AT&T's next upgrade plan, it was no.
No.
And I actually, but I wanted one more no as a new sentence, but I got rejected, which is a bummer.
So T-Mobile says it's going to fix all this garbage,
Yeah.
and so.
Oh yeah, to review, AT&T, relatively high degree of evil, relatively low degree of crazy. Sprint, kind of meet in the middle.
Yeah.
And now we're moving on to T-Mobile. If you're wondering where Verizon is in this equation, it's over there. Like just AT&T, but double it.
Yeah.
I'm off the screen.
Too
Okay.
busy scheming for Spectrum.
We're getting
So
John Legere.
T-Mobile has this big press event here at CES.
Yeah.
CEO John Legere has pretty much been off the rails all week.
Yeah.
First, he tries to crash AT&T's party. He does successfully crash it, and he gets kicked out by security.
Such a stunt.
Which is, such a stunt. He claims he wanted to see the good old Macklemore, but
That's how you know
he
that
got,
it was a lie.
Quite a bit of.
That's how you
a
know it
news
was
cycle.
fake. 'Cause
I just wanted to see Macklemore. I didn't
So,
think it would be inappropriate.
2 days later, he
words
gets on
that
stage.
never should come out of anybody's mouth.
2 days later, they had this press event, which has a lot of Macklemore playing. He gets on stage to announce Un-carrier 4, and T-Mobile reveals that it's going to buy out your ETF if you switch over. So if you are on contract with AT&T or whatever other carrier, and
T-Mobile,
it's going to cost you money to cancel your plan to come to T-Mobile, T-Mobile is offering to pay that fee for you as long as you trade in your phone when you come over.
Up to $350 a line, up to 5
So yeah, up to 5 lines, $350 per line, and then if your phone is actually worth something, like say you've got an iPhone 5S on AT&T, they'll give you up to $300 for that.
if you sell it to them.
If you have to trade it in to get them to pay your ETF, you have to trade in your phone.
Why?
That's part of the deal, man.
That's stupid. Like, there's plenty of phones on AT&T that work just fine on T-Mobile. Why would I
Part of
have
the
to
deal.
trade in my phone?
Well, the reason you'd have to trade in your phone is because of the SIM lock.
But I thought we
perfect.
were past that.
So
What if I have an unlocked phone?
So they can. There's
If
the
you got an unlocked phone.
opportunity to pay you up to $650 per line for transferring over to T-Mobile, which is a pretty big deal.
Yeah, his
T-Mobile
shtick
doesn't
was like
think it's going to pay
you
that
can
much,
like
but-
since AT&T is also paying people to switch over to them, like you could switch over to T-Mobile, have T-Mobile pay for it. If you don't like it, switch back, and you'll end up making money in it or something. He
Yeah,
worked
so
out
like
that.
if you can switch over to T-Mobile, get your ETF canceled, and have that credit paid for. Try it out because you're not under contract with T-Mobile now. Try it out for a couple months. If it doesn't work, go take AT&T's offer to switch back to AT&T, where they'll give you $200.
Well, the
Listen, Dan-
party line is that you're going to enjoy it so much while you're there that you're going to stay.
I mean, unless you live outside of
Yeah,
a major metro
if you leave
area,
the city-
then you're in a world of hurt.
Do you understand exactly how all these details work, Dan?
I think I do.
You know why?
Why?
Because you don't have a life.
This is true. I spent my life trying to decipher T-Mobile's plans, and now I do not have a life.
The
So
CEO
I will have to say,
how does
so,
that
Hang
work?
on, the people might not know. The CEO of T-Mobile
CEO
told
T-Mobile.
Dan to his face he doesn't have a life in response to a question, a legitimate question about the quality of their service outside of urban areas.
So let me set this up because T-Mobile, if you've been following their press events, Legere always gets on stage and says a bunch of stuff that gets a lot of headlines.
And by a bunch of stuff,
he
he
calls the
means-
other guys peckers. He drops f-bombs. He says shit a lot.
They like horse shit. They like to say that a lot.
He likes to say horse shit a lot. He makes fun of other CEOs' physical appearance, which personally I don't agree with. I
Glass
think that's
houses,
a low. That was a
you're saying?
really. Yeah, glass houses, man. I mean, that's a really low blow. I mean, poke fun all you want at the business practices and things like
Our
that.
image is quite fitting
But
right
Wow, we're just keeping that up. They've got him up on the monitor.
so he's doing
just
his
trolling
usual
us as we
shtick at
talk.
this. He's dropping f-bombs. He is insulting the industry.
This is a nightmare.
He is doing. This is the thing is this is a character that he's built up, and now he's in this character. So it comes time to Q&A at the end of the session, and I asked the obvious question. You guys are talking. Oh, not only did they announce these new plans, but they also are staking a claim that they are the fastest network in the U.S. based on data from that speed test app.
They're going to send AT&T a cease and desist letter
on your smartphone.
Yeah.
So they're making all these claims that they are the fastest network in all these various cities, and I asked, what about outside of a big city? Because if you're in a suburban area, if you're in a rural area, you guys do not have the footprint that the other guys have, and how are you going to fix that? And what's your response? And his response to me was, "You don't have a life, man."
But then he said, "Neither do I."
And he said, "Neither do I," because he seemed like that is kind of a bit of a dick move to say to somebody's face. And then he proceeded to walk around my question.
Well, and then their CTO said some stuff. Like, they've got some new spectrum that they're going to start using.
So they have some spectrum. They just bought $3 billion worth
yeah.
of spectrum from Verizon. They will not be getting that spectrum until the middle of this year.
Right.
By the time they roll it out and deploy it, it's going to be well into 2015.
Yeah.
The other problem is that they made a big point of taking down Verizon's recent network expansion because they said that if you don't have a recent Verizon phone, it's not compatible with that network. Well, guess what? When they launched this low-band spectrum that they just bought from Verizon, if you don't have a recent T-Mobile phone that's compatible with that, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So they're going to be in the same boat. But yeah, I think this whole thing that T-Mobile does is a bit of a clouding the details, but shouting out these loud points that they want everybody to know.
They're picking up customers.
Well, and that's their marketing campaign. And
like,
they're these big loud press events.
Yeah,
John Legere is a marketing tool.
Level of evil
company.
low, but level of like crazy a little bit too high, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think they obfuscate a lot of the details, and I think that it's great that there's no contract and that you can try it out because you might buy a phone and take it home and it might not work for you, and that's a frequent thing that I hear a lot from readers. I experience it myself in my home. T-Mobile has terrible service, and I've got great service from AT&T and Verizon, and obviously that varies where you live.
You have a life. I didn't mean it.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to make you so mad.
Okay.
It's like it's easy. It's easy to fall into the they're for the people, man. This is the uncarrier. This is like they are changing things. They're fixing this, and I'll give them credit. They're doing a lot of good things.
He should swing by and get on the mobile show. Well, we got a chair right here.
A lot of the details. And yes, John Legere, come on. We'd love to have you come down, talk on the mobile show, talk with us. We'd love to have a chat. Tell us how this is not obfuscation.
Yeah, honestly, this almost sounds like boxers saying, "I'd love to hang out with you. I'd love to hang out with you."
Bring it on, man.
Yeah, bring it on. Come over here. We can have a conversation, you and I. Okay, you and I. All right, John Legere, you and I on here, on the stage, which is getting torn down in about 30 minutes. We've got 29 minutes to get over here. So we can have a conversation right now. But wait, you said you had no signal at home. That's Kentucky?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so there we go. John Legere, Kentucky. Take care of it.
It was
And Brooklyn, actually.
And
I tried to switch.
upstate New York, and anywhere outside of a major metro.
But setting aside the crazy from carriers, let's talk about the crazy from hardware manufacturers. Because we had one guy who sounded crazy. He's not crazy, but he sounded crazy.
He's a little crazy.
And that was John Legere from Asus.
oh man.
Oh man.
And he's bringing the Pad phone to the United States at long last, after many dozens of demands on Facebook saying bring us a Pad phone to the United States.
I kind of think it. Want to try.
Here's what cracks me up about the Pad phone. This is the Pad phone X is coming to AT&T. It's the first Pad phone sold in the U.S. The first Asus phone I can think of being carried by a major manufacturer in recent years, at least. And it's a 5-inch phone that slots into a 9-inch tablet. And it's if you are familiar with the Pad phone concept, that's what it is. What cracks me up though,
right?
No,
that's the Pad phone X.
Okay.
What cracks me up is that as these Pad phones have gone along the line in development, this is now the 3rd or 4th generation of them.
6th.
The phone.
They make a new one when you're not looking. And they don't change the name, and so you're like, oh, there's a what?
But the phone, every time the phone gets bigger and the tablet part gets smaller. So we're going to come to this point where the tablet's going to be smaller,
will be the exact same size of the phone, and they'll slot into each other.
It's going to dock a 7-inch phone into a 7-inch tablet.
There'll be a screen on it.
I gotta say, this show is like all about inflection points.
We're all about conversion and inflection points. Yeah. So and then so that's coming to the AT&T. I can tell you exactly how that's going to go down. AT&T announced it on stage at its developer event. I think AT&T has fulfilled its commitment to promote the Padphone X, and we'll never hear from it again.
Check.
But but actually the bigger news is that Asus is coming to the US in force now. Now they're really bringing a whole bunch of devices, and most of the devices they're going to hope to sell are the Zenphones. And
well, where are those going to be carried though? What carrier store can I walk into?
I think what matters
I think the
is the price
Zenphones look not that exciting. I think
they don't look that exciting, but they are really affordable.
Okay. And
So's
can
the
we
Moto G.
take turns to just
true.
announce their pricing?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Should we do that? I mean, do
Go
we
for
have
it,
the
Vlad.
energy? Because I don't think we're allowed to announce the pricing in any way other than the way Johnny Shee says it, which is that the Zenfone 4 will be available at $99. And then the Zenfone 5 will be available at $149, and then the Zenfone 6 is at $199, I believe. Anyhow, from $99 to $249, Asus has a phone for you. And Johnny Shee has a yelling price point to tell you. But and there's also the Padphone Mini, which is somewhere around 4 inches and slots into a 7-inch tablet. And amusingly, when Asus was doing this roundup teaser video for all of these new phones, a lady took the Padphone Mini, slid it into a 7-inch tablet, and just carried on her conversation. And it's a big fat 7-inch tablet.
It's amazing.
It's like
Maybe she was running out of batteries.
Yeah, that could be.
that must be the case, right? So there you go. That just basically tells you that it's clearly better and superior to the iPhone.
I don't know where this market is at. Like,
I think the pad phone concept was really radical when they first announced it. And it was like, wow, I can use one data SIM, and I can use it in my phone, I can use it in a tablet, and I can use it in a laptop-like device, because that one had a laptop
that was
dock.
like back
but
in
the
the days of
execution,
the Atrix, though.
But the execution was so bad because the phone's processor at the time wasn't powerful really enough to push the tablet. Tablet Android software back then was kind of abysmal. And you know, the dock, I hate to say it, but Android doesn't work that well with a mouse and keyboard.
No.
So there's that idea, and I think they're trying to hold on to that idea and move with the times as Android tablet software has gotten better, phones have gotten bigger, and things like that. But you know, is this better than carrying a good smartphone and a Nexus 7 or an iPad Mini?
Probably not, but that's the whole point. All I'm going to say is that with Asus, you get a lot of technology for your money. Like, that's the one thing you can't deny.
Actually, what else happened that we need to hit?
So Nvidia announced a new processor. It's got a whole bunch of cores in it. It's probably not going to be as good as the next processor that Qualcomm announced.
I don't have time.
Wait, okay.
I don't have time with WebOS.
I can talk about Nvidia, just briefly.
Okay, do it fast. It'd be awesome.
First of all, it has 192 cores of confusion.
Cores of confusion is like
so. If they live up to the claim that it is
band.
as good as last generation consoles, that's like legitimately exciting. And if it like lasts more than 10 minutes on a battery, that's also legitimately exciting.
I would agree with that. Like they're conflating the graphics processor cores with like just general purpose cores, which is just not true. But if they're delivering a mobile like an SoC that can deliver last gen graphics, like that's great. People are gonna.
It's not last gen, but that's the whole point. The point is that they're bringing modern graphics now.
So
it's based on Kepler. Right?
Here's the thing that always happens to Nvidia. They beat everyone else to the market with these high-powered processors, and then 2 or 3 months later, Qualcomm drops its next-generation processor that is so much better, and everyone forgets Nvidia exists in mobile.
Yes,
well,
that's
not
great,
always
but
like
there's
that much more powerful, but it's just like it's actually like viable in a mobile device in terms of power and works with LTE.
There's a difference.
Right. Yeah, I mean other things, but generally, in my experience, when I'm comparing an Nvidia device to a Qualcomm device, the Qualcomm device is faster, snappier, and more pleasant to use.
Yeah.
But you see, what Nvidia is doing is trying to play in a different playing field. It's essentially because I spoke with those guys after their presentation, and it really rather clarified the whole situation for me. Nvidia isn't trying to compete with all the other mobile chip makers. It's essentially trying to trickle down a PC part into the mobile space.
So what are they trying to do?
Trickle down.
But what are they trickling into?
Don't they need to sell stuff to people?
That's the point. But hang on a second. They're trying to do something really quite ambitious, and I think it has a viability with this K1 chip. Because this is based on the Kepler graphics, the Kepler graphics core, which is already in their desktop graphics cards. And the point that they make, and I mean, this is something for developers and Nvidia to know, not for me
but
to judge yet. But the point that they make is it's very easy to port a game from PC or console to the Tegra.
Oh, so that's the thing. The Tegra chips actually support like true OpenGL, and that is not like not OpenGL ES, but actual OpenGL that's used in desktop games. And that's a huge deal. Qualcomm does not have that.
Right.
Like,
Are any games written for that?
no.
So
But the question is, like, does that? No, but
you
I'm
can
with you.
make
Like,
something with
the
that.
chip is legitimately awesome. I will grant that and assume that, and I'll even grant that, like, it's okay. But is that what sells chips anymore? Is that what sells devices anymore?
No, but
is it really?
This is the point. When you had the Tegra 4, you had a more powerful chip than the other guys.
Yeah.
But you had a big hurdle for developers to make games, and they had to code specifically for it in order to harness its power. And nobody was coding for it because nobody's buying devices.
I'm granting all of this to you,
but
but let
this
me.
is the
I'm
distinction.
granting all of this to you, but my question is, I don't care what chip is in the phone.
But that's the point. You will
And-
start caring if there's games specifically for that chip.
But is the thing that is
And games
most
that can only
likely,
run on that chip.
when
I'm with
I'm
you.
a phone manufacturer or tablet manufacturer, am I most likely to pick the graphics chip or the chip that is like power efficient and gets me LTE and is cheap?
But it's not terrible. No, but
Because the cheap stuff is really close to good enough.
yeah.
But I think
that's the point.
I think
That's the
Nvidia
point.
wants to deliver experiences that the other guys just aren't interested in delivering.
Right.
Yeah, and it's
And all
it's also
15
trying
of
to
their
be
customers are going to be super pumped.
Yeah.
But
For all those cars.
give me a
that are
moment,
put-
guys. I need 10 seconds.
Okay.
I need 10
You get 10 seconds and we got to wrap
10
up.
seconds.
But the point is, Nvidia is trying to be high end, is trying to be niche, but with this K1, with the lower threshold for porting games from PCs and consoles, it actually has a chance to succeed at that. A chance that it didn't really have with Tegra 4.
Okay.
So it's a more positive outlook.
Yeah.
So
I'm
wrapped.
I am tentatively coming closer to your side of the thing. I want to believe that you're right, but I've seen Nvidia get beat up so much and like go the wrong path for the past few years that I worry that it's happening again. I need to see them prove that like they can sell stuff with this stuff in it.
I agree.
Yeah. Well, on that note, thank you for watching the Verge Mobile Show. If you'd like to follow us on Twitter, you can, and you should. We're all at Verge, but individually, I am Backlon, Dan is DC Seifert, Vlad is Vlad Savov, Evan is Evan R. Rodgers?
Just Evan Rodgers.
Just Evan Rodgers. Why do I
Pretty
think
sure
there's
we
an
get
extra
that wrong
R
every
there?
time.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay.
It's
There's a
Evan
D in it.
Rodgers.
That's the thing.
There's a D in it.
There's a
Oh,
D
after
in
the
my
G.
Rodgers. Yeah.
Right.
No, before the G.
Yes. Well, thank you for watching, and we'll catch you next week, week after. I don't know. It's CES. Who knows what day it is anymore? It's like what? Saturn. All right. Good night, everybody.
Very nice.